The galaxy always believed humans were strange and dangerous, but still too young to matter. Alien empires called them Deathworlders, a name used more as a joke than a warning. But humans never argued or corrected anyone. They stayed quiet, watching everything with sharp eyes. For many years, small stories about human strength moved from one planet to another. Some aliens said humans could run for days without stopping. Others said humans could survive storms that killed most species. But every time these stories reached the great alien councils, they laughed. They thought humans were only trying to look special. The Council of 12, the most powerful rulers in the galaxy, talked about humans like they were nothing. In their grand meeting hall, they said humans were emotional, primitive, and too chaotic. No one questioned this. No one wondered why humans were silent. No one thought silence could be dangerous, but silence was the first warning. On the far side of the galaxy, a small human colony lived under the rule of the Thrask Dominion. The Thrask were known for their arrogance. They loved showing their power. They loved humiliating weaker species. To them, humans were easy targets. Every week, Thrask soldiers created new rules just to control humans. They shouted orders. They pushed people in the streets. They insulted human families for no reason. Humans obeyed quietly. They did their work. They did not fight. They did not complain. But the Thrask never noticed the cold look in human eyes, in the control tower above the colony. Commander Rinith watched the humans like he watched insects. "Look at them," he said to his officers. "Soft, weak creatures from a soft world." His second officer laughed loudly. "They break easily." Rinith nodded slowly. "And they know their place." But far beyond Vigo 6, something else was happening, something the Thrask knew nothing about. Human ships began disappearing from known travel routes. At first, no one cared. Pirates were common. Accidents happened. But these disappearances were different. There were no distress calls, no wreckage, no signals. It was as if entire ships simply vanished into darkness. Scientists from other species checked their sensors. They saw nothing. They heard nothing. But deep in subspace, something moved. Something quiet, something large, something powerful. Most alien empires ignored the strange readings. The Thrask Dominion ignored them too. They thought nothing in the galaxy could surprise them. They were wrong. One night on Vigo 6, a young human technician named Lyra stood on the balcony of her small living unit. She looked up at the sky and saw a thin red line moving across the darkness. It was straight, silent, and too perfect to be natural. Her heart froze. "They are coming," she whispered. The next morning, Thrask soldiers were louder than usual. They insulted humans again. They pushed an old man on the ground. They pointed weapons at workers. They shouted, "Deathworlders are nothing." But this time, the old man stood up slowly. He looked directly into the soldiers' eyes. His voice was quiet, almost calm. "We warned you." The soldiers laughed. They thought he was crazy. They thought humans were still harmless. But in the deep black of space, thousands of human ships waited silently. Their engines were cold. Their weapons were charged. Their hulls were covered in a new technology that no alien sensor could detect. Humanity had not been silent because they were weak. They had been silent because they were preparing. And now, the galaxy was about to face the answer to all its arrogance. The warning had been ignored. The silence had been misunderstood. And something powerful was already on its way. The next few days on Vigo 6 felt heavier than before. Something in the air had changed. The humans felt it in their bones. The Thrask soldiers felt it too, but they did not understand the strange tension. They only grew more aggressive, more arrogant, more loud. Commander Rinith noticed small changes among the humans. They walked with straighter backs. They looked the soldiers directly in the eyes. They no longer lowered their heads. This bothered him. Thrask officers were used to instant fear, not silent confidence. "What is happening to them?" Rinith asked sharply one morning. His second officer shrugged. "Maybe they are finally accepting their place." Rinith did not believe that. Something felt wrong. Far away in deep space, the hidden human fleet continued to move. Thousands of ships drifted silently, like shadows waiting for the sun to rise. Their communication lines were dark. Their engines made no heat. Their presence created a small vibration in space, strong enough for ancient species to feel, but too soft for advanced scanners. On Vigo 6, the Thrask Dominion prepared for a grand celebration. It was the anniversary of their victory over a weaker alien race. Every year, they celebrated by showing their strengths and humiliating their slaves. This year, They added a new event. Humans would be forced to kneel in front of the Thrask Council. Posters were placed everywhere. Loudspeakers announced the event every hour. Humans will kneel before the greatness of the Thrask Dominion. The humans heard it. They stayed silent. Lyra, the young technician, felt fear in her stomach. She had seen the red line in the sky. She knew something big was coming. But she also knew the Thrask would not understand the danger until it stood in front of them. On the day of the ceremony, hundreds of humans were gathered in the main square. Thrask guards pushed them into rows. The sky above Vigo 6 was grey and cold. A large platform stood in the center where Commander Rhinoth waited proudly. Rhinoth raised his hand and spoke with a loud voice. Today, the Deathworlders will learn true power. They will show respect. They will kneel. The crowd of humans did not move. Rhinoth frowned. Kneel? Still, no one moved. The Thrask soldiers became angry. They grabbed weapons. They shouted. One soldier hit a human man with the back of his rifle. The man fell but stood again, slowly, without fear. Lyra felt her heartbeat increase. Something was about to break. You are nothing. A Thrask officer shouted, You are weak creatures from a weak world. For a moment, everything became silent. Then the old man from before, the same one who had said we warned you, stepped forward. He looked calm. His voice was level and clear. You should not have said that. The Thrask soldiers laughed loudly, but their laughter died quickly. Because, at that exact moment, the sky above Vega 6 changed. Clouds twisted unnaturally, like something huge was pushing them aside. A deep rumbling sound filled the air, but no one could tell where it came from. Every Thrask communicator began to lose signal. Their rifles beeped with errors. Their scanners showed blank screens. Commander Rhinoth turned pale. What is happening? He shouted. The humans already knew. Lyra looked up toward the sky, her voice trembling. They're here, in orbit. The hidden human fleet revealed itself for the first time. Thousands of dark shapes appeared from the black of space. No engines, no warning, only silence. But it was a silence that felt like the start of a storm. And the Thrask Dominion had just given humanity one last insult, the final push that woke the sleeping giant. The galaxy would never forget what came next. The Thrask soldiers stared at the sky with wide eyes, unable to understand what they were seeing. One moment, the clouds had been normal. The next, they twisted like something enormous had passed through them. A strange energy pulsed across the colony, vibrating through metal walls, blasting through communication towers, shaking the ground under everyone's feet. Commander Rhinoth tried to speak, but his voice failed him. His communicator crackled, went silent, and then died completely. What is this? He shouted, but no one could answer. High above Vega 6, space itself seemed to ripple like water. The stars blurred. The darkness folded into strange shapes. Thrask sensors tried to scan the disturbance but showed nothing. No ships, no signals, no life signs, according to their instruments. The sky was empty, but their eyes told a very different story. More and more shapes appeared in orbit, silent, like shadows. They had no glowing engines, no flashing lights, no energy signatures. Their hulls swallowed starlight. They looked like pieces of the night sky had broken off and started moving. The human fleet had arrived. On the ground, the humans stood completely still. They were not afraid. They did not look confused. They watched with calm faces, as if they had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had seen many ships in her life, but never anything like this. These ships were different. They felt alive, like they were made from something older and stronger than normal technology. A Thrask officer pointed to the sky. Impossible, he whispered. No species can hide a fleet that size. Another officer shook his head. Why can't our sensors see them? No one had an answer. Suddenly, a giant wave of static exploded across the colony. Every Thrask device shut down at once. Rifles, scanners, armor systems, power packs, even their personal shield generators blinked out. The humans were the only ones whose devices stayed active. Commander Rhinoth grabbed a human worker by the shirt. What is happening? He demanded. What did your people do? The human looked straight into his eyes. You ignored every warning. Rhinoth stepped back, suddenly unsure if the man in front of him was really as harmless as he appeared. In orbit, the first human ship moved forward. It was huge, bigger than any Thrask battleship. Its surface was smooth and black, without markings or windows. It made no sound. It released no exhaust. It drifted like a silent planet. The Thrask orbital defenses tried to activate, but their systems were dead. Their turrets did not turn. Their missiles did not load. Their shields did not rise. Every piece of technology they trusted was useless. Panic spread quickly. On the colony's surface, soldiers shouted orders, but nothing worked. They hit buttons. They slammed their fists on controls. They screamed at their machines. Nothing responded. Humans watched quietly from the square. Lyra whispered to the old man next to her. "How are they doing this?" He answered softly. Humanity changed when the galaxy wasn't looking. More human ships appeared, hundreds of them, then thousands. They formed a massive ring around Vega 6, blocking every escape route. They did not fire weapons. They did not send threats. They simply waited. Commander Rineth looked at the sky and felt fear for the first time in his life. "Why are they here?" he whispered. The old man stepped forward again. "They came because you pushed too far, and now you will hear their answer." A deep, powerful voice echoed across every speaker on Vega 6. It was calm, controlled, and unmistakably human. "Thrask Dominion, your arrogance ends today." The Thrask soldiers froze. The humans finally smiled, because the unseen arrival was complete, and the galaxy was about to witness something it had never imagined. A heavy silence fell over Vega. As the human voice faded from the speakers, the Thrask soldiers looked at one another, confused and frightened. They had never heard a human speak with such calm power. It felt like the sky itself was warning them. Commander Rineth tried to pretend he was in control. He shouted orders, but his voice shook. "Activate shields. Power up weapons. Call the Dominion flagship." No one responded. Every Thrask device remained dead. Their rifles were cold. Their armored suits had no power. Their communication towers stayed silent. Their defense grid was frozen like a stone statue. The only working systems belonged to the humans. Lyra watched the soldiers panic. For years, the Thrask had treated humans as weak and simple. Now they looked small, lost, and helpless. "They don't understand what's happening," she whispered. The old man nodded. "And they won't understand until it is too late." Above the planet, the largest human ship slowly rotated. Its surface shifted like black metal and liquid shadow mixed together. Blue rings of energy pulsed across its body, but no alien sensor picked up a reading. It was like the ship existed outside normal physics. This ship sent out a single wave of invisible force. It moved silently through orbit. Every Thrask warship it touched shut down instantly. Engines died. Weapons locked. Crews sat in darkness, powerless and terrified. Some ships drifted off course, spinning slowly. Others froze completely, like statues in space. In the command center of the Thrask flagship, officers screamed, "Our reactor is offline. All systems failed. We cannot fire. We have lost control." Their admiral's hands trembled. "What technology is this? How can humans do this?" No one could answer. On the ground, Commander Rineth stared at the sky. His pride, his confidence, his arrogant soul of it crumbled. He turned to the humans standing in the square. "What do they want?" he demanded. "Why are they doing this?" A human woman stepped forward calmly. "They are showing you the price of disrespect." Rineth looked confused. "We never attacked Earth. We never started a war." "You didn't need to," she said. "You attacked our people every day. You believed we were weak. You believed we were slow to learn. But humans grow stronger in silence. That is something the galaxy never understood." Another deep voice came from the sky, louder this time, filling every corner of the colony. "Thrask Dominion. For years you mocked death. Today you will learn why that name is a warning." Rineth shouted angrily, "You cannot threaten the Dominion. We are the strongest empire in this sector." At that exact moment, the ground shook. A beam of blue-white light shot down from orbit, striking one of the Thrask's largest military towers. It did not explode. It did not burn. It did not even shatter loudly. It simply broke apart into dust, fine, silent dust drifting in the air. The Thrask soldiers fell silent instantly. The humans did not even flinch. Lyra felt her breath stop. She had never seen power like that. "That wasn't a weapon," she whispered. "That was something else." The old man nodded. A demonstration. More beams descended, each one hitting a Thrask base, a weapon store, a defense tower. Not one human home, not one human building, not one human street was touched. The attacks were perfect, precise, clean. Humanity was showing complete control. Rineth dropped to his knees. His voice was barely a whisper. "We cannot win. The old man looked at him. You were never meant to win. You were meant to listen. The ground trembled again as a massive shadow moved across the sky. A ship so large it blocked the sun drifted overhead. This was not a battle. This was a reckoning. The galaxy was finally beginning to understand the true meaning of the word Deathworlder. The massive shadow that covered Vega 6 moved slowly, like a floating continent in the sky. It was the largest human vessel ever seen, larger than any Thrask station, larger than any known battleship in the galaxy. Its presence alone felt like a silent judgment. Every Thrask soldier watched it with trembling hands. None of them dared to move. None dared to speak. Even Commander Rineth stayed kneeling, unable to understand how everything he believed had fallen apart in a single day. A voice came again from the sky, calm, steady, and unshakably human. Thrask Dominion, your rule ends now. The voice was not angry. It was not loud, but it carried a kind of strength that pierced through every wall and every soul on the colony. Rineth swallowed hard. What do you want from us? No answer came immediately. Instead, a beam of soft white light fell from the giant ship. It did not burn or destroy. It scanned the entire colony in seconds. Humans felt a warm sensation, like a gentle breeze. Thrask soldiers felt cold fear crawl up their spines. Then the voice spoke again. We know who among you hurt our people. We know every insult, every order, every cruelty. The Thrask soldiers stepped back, horrified. Their deeds were no longer hidden behind rank or authority. The old man standing with the humans said quietly, they see everything now. In space, the human fleet began to reorganize. Ships moved into perfect formation, creating a ring of silver and black around Vega 6. Thousands of vessels drifted like silent guardians, surrounding the planet with precision no empire had ever shown. A transmission opened across the galaxy. Every empire, every council, every race heard it. This is the Earth Alliance. Today, we confront the Thrask Dominion, not with conquest, but with truth. Humans did not come for war. We came because you pushed too far. Billions watched in silence. Back on Vega 6, the humans stepped forward. They were no longer workers, no longer slaves. They stood straight and unafraid. The voice continued. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not blind. We watched, we waited, we endured. Commander Rineth shook his head slowly. You could have destroyed us instantly. Why haven't you? The old man answered before the voice did. Because humans do not destroy unless they must. Rineth looked confused. Then what now? A soft hum echoed from the sky as a beam of blue light surrounded every Thrask weapon on the colony. Rifles melted into harmless metal lumps. Armor broke apart into dust. Command terminals turned into stone-like blocks. There was no violence, just simple, perfect disarmament. The humans had taken everything that made the Thrask dangerous. The voice spoke again. You will not command this colony anymore. It now belongs to its people, those you tried to control. Gasps spread through both humans and Thrask. This was not revenge. This was justice. Rineth lowered his head. We were wrong about your kind. The old man placed a hand on his shoulder gently. Many species were far across the galaxy. Leaders of powerful empires watched with wide eyes. They had mocked humans for years. They had dismissed them as unstable and emotional. Now they saw the truth. Humans had advanced faster than anyone expected. They had built technology no one could understand. They had risen from a death world to become a force that bent the galaxy. With quiet confidence, but they still chose mercy. That was what frightened everyone the most. As the giant, human ship slowly rose back into the sky, the final message echoed. To all who hear this, respect is earned, not taken. The galaxy will learn to live with humanity, not above it. The fleet turned in perfect formation and vanished into the darkness, leaving only silence behind. The humans of Vega 6 watched them disappear with pride. The Thrask soldiers watched with fear, and the galaxy finally understood the truth. You should never underestimate a death.